Nate Buchanan.
Good morning, my neighbors!
It's showtime!
Doncic, another three from straight away off the dribble. He's got 20, Dallas by 12, and a timeout by Minnesota.
Luka Doncic has let everyone here in the Twin Cities know he is here to play. 20 points for Luka in the first.
He's got 4. Anderson lost the ball. Greenhead on the floor. Doncic digging it out. Vacuums it in. Gafford, Green, Gafford, up, no, foul!
How did you get that all in there, partner? Wow.
Are you out of breath now, Kevin?
What is the definition of the word frantic? Wow.
Irving, behind the back dribble, pull up Jay. Count it from 18 feet on the right wing. Pretty move by Irving. He's got 21.
And you can see right now, Kyrie Irving, Luka Doncic, they're just going to take turns trying to throw daggers at the Wolves.
Doncic will bring it across the timeline. Shot clock at 9, guarded by Anderson 40 feet away. Now drives past him into the lane, puts up the shot and scores from 10 feet. A little push shot from Luka. When you need a bucket, put it in your best player's hands. And Doncic now with 33 on 13 of 20 shooting.
All right, the inbound will come 5 seconds away. Here it goes. The Western Conference champions are the Dallas Mavericks. They're going to the NBA Finals. They'll take on the Boston Celtics.
We never clicked all together as a team in this series. Not even one game. I think that was the main thing. In the last 2 series, we was all clicking at one time, making shots and stuff. We wasn't clicking at one time, man.
Means a lot, man. Means a lot. It's not easy. It was very hard road, very hard. But we are here. Obviously we're not done. We need 4 more, but I think today we all deserve to enjoy this win.
The Kansas City Royals.
And that's hit well to right field. Through the wind and way out of here. Welcome back, Vinny Pasquantino, and the Royals get a leadoff walk and a 2-run home run in the first inning.
That's a great way to start, I would guess. I mean, put 2 quick points on the board there.
Melendez into deep right field, and I mean deep right field. So he was ready for a first pitch fastball that time, and that is his first RBI on the road. And after a long at-bat with Paddock in the second and a box full of foul balls, he lost a hit on a diving play by Santana, and the Royals take a 4-0 lead in the 4th.
Jefferson smacks it to left center field and deep. Back it goes and gone. Ryan Jeffers answers back with a long home run to left center. Twins have life and now cut this late in half. It's 4-2.
Here's Ryan Jeffers homered his last time up. And that ball's hit in the left center field, hit well. Not going to be caught. That ball is in the bullpen. A home run for Jeffers. 4-3 Kansas City. That was a line drive and it was a fastball. Jeffers a 2-homer game.
And he hit a shot far.
Line to right, slicing towards the corner. That's a fair ball. Kepler is in. Santana is in. Carlos Correa's thinking 3. He's going to make it. Sliding in with the bases clearing. 3-run triple. And the Twins surge in front. It's 7-4.
There's a line drive, base hit into left field. Here comes Garcia, and it is a 1-run game. Bobby Witt Jr. drives in 2.
Yeah, what a swing now. Duran did him a favor, threw him a curveball. That sped up his bat.
Right now it's a 7-6 game with Witt Jr. with great speed at first base and Pasquantino in the batter's box.
Here we go again. Another 9th inning tight game. This one tapped back to the mound. Duran glance on target. Ball game over, and the Twins hang on and beat the Royals 7-6 and win the series.
You think back earlier in the game, he's a foot or 2 away from a homer for a double. That's a run on the board. It's a game that you can go back and think about all the inches here or feet here, whatever. I mean, he's up in a big spot for us. We love it. He gets a big base hit there. We got Vinny up. We really like our chances there, too.
Good morning, Kansas City. Steven St. John, Jake Gutierrez on this Friday, May 31st, 2024. Man, crazy weekend, busy weekend coming up in Kansas City. We'll get things started for you with Stan Weber coming up at 6:30. We're going to get the weekend forecast, a pretty important weekend forecast from Jeff Penner, considering there's so many events and so many things going on this weekend. We're going to have former Royals catcher Mike McFarland to talk about this Royals series against the Twins that they lost 3 out of 4, but also we'll preview the Padres coming to town in a big month of June coming up for the Royals. We're also going to talk to Matt Moore about the NBA playoffs. The Mavericks really embarrassed Minnesota last night. If that was a fight, it would have been stopped in the first quarter. And so Dallas advances to the NBA Finals to take on the Boston Celtics. That series will start next week, and we'll talk to Matt Moore from the Action Network about that, preview that series, get his thoughts on Luka and what he did with Kyrie Irving to the state of Minnesota last night. Not good if you're a T-Wolves fan. But overall, fun season for them. They make it all the way to the conference finals before they get eliminated last night in embarrassing fashion by the Dallas Mavericks. And then we're also going to talk to Rashad White, who is a very good running back for Tampa, and he is also a local product from right here in Kansas City, Missouri. And so, and he's got, I told you that there's a bunch of things going on this weekend, and he has a camp coming up, his first youth football camp at Center High School, where he attended. That's his alma mater, Center High School. And so he's got a camp coming up this weekend, and he's got a few events that he's going to be taking part in. I think today he's going to be at the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum this afternoon, and then he's going to have a meet and greet at the Cleaver Family YMCA off 70th and Troost, and then he'll have his football camp tomorrow morning at Center High School. And so he's going to do an exclusive and educational tour of the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. What an awesome week to do that. And then the meet and greet at the YMCA, where he spent time as a kid, and then the football camp at his high school. And so that's awesome that he's doing that and giving back to the community. And so he will be on the show to talk a little bit about that coming up at 8:30. So that should be fun. And the Chiefs had several coaches speak to the media yesterday. And so we'll hear some sound. We'll hear some comments from Dave Tobe, Steve Spagnuolo, Matt Nagy, Dave Merritt, Andy Heck. So we'll talk some football, and that'll help us get through the early part of this Friday and get into the weekend. You heard some highlights from the game. That the Royals lost to the Twins. Man, I guess, look, when you're not competitive and you're not battling for a playoff spot, it doesn't really matter. You kind of lose your, I don't know what it is. You lose your disdain for division opponents. And I guess this last 4-game series, especially considering the Twins won some close games and won 3 out of 4, reminded me that they really irritate me. Usually because they're pretty good, but that's probably a compliment. But twice in this series, the Royals had one of their best hitters, one of their young cornerstones, at the plate with a chance to tie the game or give the Royals the lead in the 9th inning against their very good closer, Duran. And what happened the first time? Bobby Witt Jr. swung at the first pitch and hit it back to the pitcher, right? Vinny Pasquantino comes up, another big spot with one of the fastest players in the league on base. I mean, hit one in the gap and tie the game, get a hold of one like he did earlier in the game and take the lead. What happens? Hits it back to the pitcher. And so credit Duran, You had 2 opportunities in this series with Bobby Witt Jr. and with Vinny Pasquantino up at the plate with a chance to tie it or win it. And both times they failed. So hopefully when they get another opportunity, maybe in Kansas City or the next time around, they can come through. But like Matt Quatrero was suggesting, baseball is a game of inches, right? It comes right down to the wire. In a couple of those games, the Royals very easily could have had a split in this series. Hell, the Royals very easily could have won 3 out of 4 in this series. But credit the Twins. They came through in the big situations, the big moments in this series, and their bullpen got it done a couple of times when the Royals bullpen could not get it done. And look, yesterday was disappointing because we were thinking Brady Singer was going to be on the mound with a chance to earn the split of the 4-game series, but then we find out towards the end of the show yesterday that he was not going to be able to pitch. And so I think that, well, at least, it doesn't, it might affect the team a little bit. That's kind of a little bit of a gut punch. But it was like, man, looking forward to Brady Singer in this game 4 of the series to see if he can go out there and follow up on the good pitching performance we saw from Seth Lugo and get the Royals a couple of wins before they come home to finish off this road trip. And then you find out, well, no Brady Singer. And so Daniel Lynch gets called up, and he has to make the start. And, hey, considering everything, he did all right. He put in reasonable effort considering what he was facing. Threw 5 innings and gave the Royals a chance to win. And it's funny, there's an article at MLB.com about what he went through to get on the mound on Friday. He woke up on Thursday. He woke up on Wednesday morning in Indiana. He spent the late afternoon flying to North Carolina and then the evening flying to Minnesota. And let me tell you something. I hate traveling. And that sounds like that sucks.
That's a lot.
Right?
That's a lot.
So then Thursday morning, he was preparing to face the Twins in a matter of hours because they had to recall him from Omaha to make that emergency start when Brady Singer was scratched due to illness. And he gave up 3 runs. 2 of them earned over 5 innings, and he left with a lead. So I think we all would have signed up for that when we found out he was going to be filling in for Brady Singer on short notice.
He absolutely did his job on short notice. I mean, that's all you can ask for, really.
Right. The bullpen did not.
No.
So.
Stratton struggled.
Yeah.
That's rough.
He so he was he got the call late Wednesday afternoon while Omaha was in Indianapolis, and they let him know that his presence was requested in Minneapolis. And so he said it touched off his zigzagging path across the eastern half of the United States, which totaled 1,358 air miles. He said, my wife was in Indy, so she dropped me off at the airport, flew to Charlotte, flew here, did some scouting work on the plane, and then they had a really good plan for me when I got here. Everyone here was really prepared, so I was ready to go. It's a little peek behind the curtain. We say, hey, call Lynch up, get him up here, get on the mound. Well, it's not always that easy, right? There's a human element to it. And so, I mean, I know I feel like garbage if I travel 1,300 miles and multiple plane rides. Look, they travel differently than we do, but still, that's no fun.
Yeah, still getting on a plane, dealing with, packing all your stuff up, rushing around. It's an hour and 40-minute flight to Indy to Charlotte, and then a 2-hour and 45-minute flight from Charlotte to Minneapolis, and, that's significant. But like I said, he did his job. I mean, that's...
Yeah, the point is he overcame that, did his job, left with a lead. And they had him fly to Minneapolis on Wednesday as a precautionary measure in case Singer wasn't able to make his start. According to Matt Quatrero, Singer slept poorly on Tuesday night and showed up at the ballpark on Wednesday under the weather. Hey, I can relate. Q said it's a typical illness that everybody deals with, but when you have to come out here and pitch and it's a 12 o'clock game, it's a little different. So they were watching him play catch, monitoring his energy level, and they decided to go with Lynch instead. Bro, I get it. I'm kind of going through that right now. I did not sleep well, and I woke up and I felt like garbage. Yesterday was kind of a crazy day. I don't know, maybe I was either I'm run down or whatever, and it was raining really hard up at my house today, this morning, and so I was talking to Sue, and she knew I felt bad. And I said, hey, you know what? I'll feel better once I get in the car, crank up some music, have some of Jake's water, which sounds really odd that I call it that, but it's easier than me trying to describe what's
water
in these odd jugs that I carry around.
Had some hydrogen water.
Is that the best way to say it?
Kangen water.
You know,
hydrogen water.
See, you just said 2 different things. Which one is it?
I mean, it's both.
It's Jake's water.
There you go.
Okay.
Good for you.
Crank up some music. I like to roll the windows down when I'm driving if I feel
fresh
right?
air.
Well, guess what? Can't do that when it's
raining.
Raining cats and dogs. And so yeah. Like right now, if you watched me play catch to check my energy level, you may not let me start. You might
call in Daniel Lynch.
Maybe Daniel Lynch would have started the show. I don't know. So the point is, I can relate. I saw people, bitching. Why didn't Singer start? Well, you know what? Maybe he would just, You ever get sick?
Yeah.
He's a human. But y'all know, trust me, that sucks. And sometimes it's like, he's caught a 24-hour bug, whatever, didn't sleep well, woke up feeling like garbage. You got a chance. And they were smart to have Daniel Lynch,
ready to go. It doesn't sound like it was his decision.
No. Singer's seems like the kind of guy that wants the baseball.
Right.
So, but bottom line is Lynch did his job, and the bullpen didn't. And the Royals end up losing.
And they still had a chance at the end, you know?
And you still, despite all that, had a chance after Bobby Witt Jr. drove in a couple of runs and made it a 1-run game. You had a chance with Vinny up at the plate and didn't come through. But I don't put it on him. I mean, Chris Stratton, where's that loss? He didn't do his job, period.
And these are good experienced bats. I mean, it's happening in May.
Yeah.
You know, so when August comes around and these opportunities arise,
They'll come through, hopefully.
Yeah, that's the hope. You know, they've been there before, so they're getting good pressure experience at bats, and you know,
you want those guys up at the plate in those situations against the best closers in baseball, in you know, with the game on the line. You want Bobby Witt Jr. up there. You want Vinny Pasquantino up there. Because, like you said, they get enough opportunities, they're going to come through because they're good. They're really good.
And Witt did come through.
Right.
You know? I mean, he's
right. The other day he didn't.
Right. Sunday he had an
last
opportunity.
night he did.
You know, against Tampa, the last game against Tampa, 2 pitches and grounded out. And then, you know, the other night against Minnesota, first pitch, grounded out. And then,
same pitcher, got another crack at him,
right.
And that's what you love.
That's exactly. It's exactly what you want to see. Adjustments, and he did what he was supposed to do.
Yeah. You know, but he's 3 ribbies, and that's the top of the lineup. Garcia, Witt, and Pasquantino each had 2 hits. MJ Melendez hit a home run. Fingers crossed.
First RBI on the road.
And he had a walk.
Looked better.
All right, come on, let's go. And then literally no one else in the lineup did anything. So it's just, you know, you'd love to see some consistency sprinkled throughout the lineup. And so, look, that leads us now to, like I mentioned at the top of the show, May 31st, right? Tomorrow, June starts. And we've been kind of harping on that. June is a huge month for the Royals. June features 2 series against Cleveland, the team that has a 3-game lead on them right now in the AL Central. Once they get through this weekend series against the Padres, and look, this is big too. Go home, take care of business, because you're not home long. You got these 3 games against the Padres, an off day on Monday, and then guess what's next week? Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 3 games at Cleveland. Let's go. Then they come back home, get 3 games against the Mariners, and then it's that week we've been talking about. Yankees, 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 Dodgers, Dodgers, Dodgers. Good God. And you just got to fight and keep your head above water, right? I mean, well, yeah, sure, I'd love to see the Royals go 5-2, but I mean, just, you know, hold your own. Be competitive. You've already banked a bunch of wins. You're well above 500. You've got your grasp on a wild card spot. You're only 3 games behind Cleveland. Do work against the Guardians. And then you got Hell Week, which, you know what, it could be great if the Royals play their best. They have the pitching and they have the talent to compete with the Yankees and the Dodgers. But boy, they better be on their A game, because there is no let up. And after they get done with that, they get an off day, then they'll play the A's, and then the Rangers, and then the Marlins. So that's all right. But then guess what? How they finish the month. 4 games at home against Cleveland. So again, you're talking about 7 games against Cleveland and 7 games against the Yankees and the Dodgers in the month of June. You know, and there's games against the Padres, 3 games against the Rangers in there. Thankfully, they get to see the A's and the Marlins. And so it's not, they're not playing playoff contenders every single day of the month. But man, we're going to find out a lot about this team in June. The other thing is stay healthy. They got to stay healthy. Hopefully Michael Massey comes back because he was making a huge impact with his bat before he got hurt. Hopefully Brady Singer's good to go and only misses one start, comes back and he's good. Right? Hopefully everyone else stays healthy in the rotation, and the bullpen doesn't have days like it did yesterday, and they can rely on the bullpen more consistently because they're going to need it. They're going to have to come together. Yeah. What was in the intro? What was Anthony Edwards talking about with the Timberwolves? They just weren't clicking. They weren't clicking
at any point in time.
Okay, in the month of June, the Royals got to be clicking all together, like they were in that winning streak.
Yeah, I think injuries, like you mentioned, I hate talking about it, but they got to stay. They got to
stop talking about it.
They got to stay right. I mean, look, the Yankees just put one of their, good pitchers on the IL yesterday. Clark Schmidt goes on the IL, who's had a really good year so far in 11 starts, 2.52 ERA, 5 wins, 1.1 WHIP. So
they're loaded.
Yeah, they are. But that's awesome.
Sure.
Enough of the. I mean, he's one of their studs.
Right.
He goes on the IL for the Yankees.
And then Garrett Cole comes back. So
right. Yeah. I mean that's.
See. Yeah. Well, that's about depth.
Right.
Hey, Brady Singer went out. Daniel Lynch gave him a chance to win. He pitched well enough, and that's twice now where he's had to step in and he's pitched well enough. One time the Royals, took advantage of it, or at least didn't blow it immediately when he left the game. So you got to credit Daniel Lynch, right?
Yeah,
because and then they're going to need him, and he's going to make more starts like that.
Yeah, and Bubic has been just got moved up to AAA last week, and so that's another guy that's going to add to that depth. Hopefully, when you're going to need it, because you are going to need it. Just hope it's not anything serious, but it happens in a season as long as baseball. You know,
it's a grind, baby.
Yep.
Just like this freaking show sometimes. Are we grinding?
It's Friday, baby.
Hey, did you can you check if we have a cot that I could lay on in between segments? Is that too much to ask? Or I'll just hit the floor, buddy.
There you go.
But then you probably have to come in and help me up.
No problem.
Yeah.
That's what I'm here for.
Or help me lay down gently. Do you have a sleeping bag?
I not here, but I can bring one for.
Are you not prepared?
I've
asked you for two things now, and you don't have either one.
I don't
of
have
them.
a cot or a sleeping bag.
Yeah, but air mattress by any chance?
I actually just bought one.
Well, where's it at?
I can probably have it here.
It doesn't help me
nice
right now.
Queen size.
Hey, I just need a twin or something like that. What do you think, big? Let's.
Bad idea.
You know what? It's not a bad idea to have that in the office.
I know, right?
I would utilize that. Hey, where's St. John? He's on the air mattress right now. Just leave him alone. Sales comes looking for me.
Going to the mattresses.
Right. That's right. We'll take a break. We're going to go look for a mattress right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Welcome back to the show. Stephen St. John and Jake Gutierrez now joined by Stan Weber on this Friday, May 31st. Is that applause? That applause is for Stan, and I feel like the little applause for Friday, because Friday's good. This week, Friday's a welcome prospect.
It's for both.
Yeah,
it's both. Friday means Stan. Studio Honest loves that.
It's been a week, Stan. It's been quite a week. So
yes, it has. I'm actually sitting in a different chair than I normally sit in on Friday. I've sat here a lot throughout the. Gosh, has it been 20-plus years we've been at this site?
Yes.
25 years for the sstation.
We
and
just moved here when I started.
21?
When I started my internship. Would have been August of 2002. We literally, I remember part of my internship.
We got here in 2002?
Yep. Because I moved stuff from the old building into the new building. I mean, it was brand new. It wasn't even finished that we were broadcasting here. August of 2002.
It's so weird how sometimes your perception, I guess, of time, of history can get distorted, because I always feel like we spent a longer amount of time in the independent studios, and we haven't been here that long, but then obviously we have, but that doesn't resonate. It seems like, to me, like when I think about it, it feels like we were in the independent studio for like 10 years, and then we got here. But we were only in the independent studio. I was only in the independent studio for what, then 3.5 or 4 years.
Yeah.
That doesn't compute. But then again,
I was told. I can't tell you how many times I was told, like, how nice it is here. You have it lucky.
Oh, let me tell you something. It really is.
I know.
It really is. And nothing against. I'll always have a soft spot.
Right.
But that was.
Because I would, like I said, I'd help. Part of my internship was like, I'd go with Drake and we'd move stuff. That we need to go grab this from the old building, and so.
How would you describe the former studio, Stan? How would you put it into words?
Well, there's two aspects, I think, when you get into most things in life, and one of them is the human component. And so you can have a dump of a site. Turn it up. Okay, forget the words I just said. Okay, Jake.
Strike it from the record.
Strike those from the record. Okay.
You got it.
Can we do that, Steven?
Sure.
I'm gonna start all over.
We do that all the time here.
If you take an arena like Allen Fieldhouse when it's empty in a summer afternoon, it has nothing of the feel that it does when KU's getting ready to play a basketball game.
Bleachers are pulled back.
Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because I'm not using the word dump. I'm just saying the people make a big difference, right?
Sure.
So that studio obviously is like a 1 on a 10 scale. If this is a 10, but it didn't matter because the entrepreneurial attitude and the newness of a sports radio program in Kansas City, rather than listening to sports for 2 hours a day with weather and traffic on the nines, we'd be going to a break right now.
That's right.
That's the way I was on a few times on that format. You come back from a commercial, and the commercials were pretty large, right? I mean, money was being made, and then you'd say, okay, let's start an interview, and then we'd stop at the 9-minute mark and say, at every 9-minute mark, we'd stop. Can you imagine that? I mean, we've reinvented the whole world.
No, I would be.
Jake can barely get me to break after half an hour.
Right.
I know, and so
it's a nightmare.
The people who don't realize how it started out here don't realize how great this is, because as a fan of sports radio, when I moved to Kansas City, the content was almost zero, and it had nothing to do with the broadcasters. They had no time. Do you know one of the guys who was on at least sometimes, if not regularly, was Kevin Harlan? Kevin Harlan was doing talk radio, and he was awesome, except for it would be, let's go to break and let's get the weather and traffic. And you just continue to do that. So Sports Radio 810 came in and go, we're gonna broadcast. But then when it got dark, the signal had to be shut down. Yeah, literally. Yeah. So different times of the year would be different amounts of times on the air. But, Stephen, I probably was, I don't know, was it 5 years there that they were there total? I was right there at the beginning of when they started the station.
Yeah, it had to be.
And the enthusiasm level of everybody. If back then you were new at one point. Remember?
Oh yeah.
You walk in and I say, "Hey, who's this? Steven St.
That's
John."
right. Who the hell is this guy?
Yeah, the enthusiasm was so high that you didn't even worry about how junky everything was. Okay, you just did it because once you got sat down where Steven and I are, it wasn't much different. Mics sitting close together around a table, and boom, we got after it. So that was, I didn't notice how dumpy it was. Oh, by the way, I come in as a guest. Or I do college game day. I don't sit there every day. For the people who are in there every day, I have a whole different appreciation for, because I don't know if the walls were even, if you push the wall, it might fall over. I mean, there's a lot of stories like that.
Stan, it was a bathroom situation that really haunted most people.
I was young enough that I didn't have to use the bathroom ever when I came here. I don't even know if there's a bathroom there.
You know what?
Does that make sense, Jake? I was so young.
Yeah,
Dude,
right.
that would have
25 years ago, I don't think I ever went to the bathroom at Sports Radio 810 WHB.
That would have changed your perspective quite a bit. It was a
I get all the respect in the world. There's a lot of things I didn't
called
notice.
it a dump at that time.
Yeah, that was.
You got to remember, I walked in the front doors. I remember Kevin Keesman's office was just off to the left. I remember straight ahead was a little control room, a real little control room, and you walked through it, and then you went into the studio, and it was small, and that's probably where I lived almost all the time.
Chad's office was down there. Duke Fry's office was down there. Sales pit, but to further your point, like for me,
Is there a guy named Duke Fry in the building?
there was Gunther Cunningham. Thank you for playing. That's great. What a great job. And so, going in there from my perspective, it was awesome. I was just so glad and excited and thankful to be there because, like you said, I was just starting, and I was always, I think probably for the first 6 or 7 years of my career, I'm like, I hope they bring me back tomorrow. I hope they let me stay. I was always walking on eggshells. But it was, I didn't think of it that way. It was, I was so thankful to be there, and I spent a lot of time there, and it was awesome, and everything was great. But then, because you don't have anything to compare it to, this is radio. This is awesome. I'm doing what I've always wanted to do. And then
it was a great service to Kansas City. This sports radio was so good.
And then you get out of here like, oh my God, this is a palace.
Oh yeah, we definitely thought this was a palace. But Jake, if you can just imagine, think about Andy Reid when he was younger. He was an assistant at Mizzou at one time, for instance. Think about the excitement level he might have had. Like, he's just such a veteran pro. He knows what he's doing. He's got it. But there was a time where he would just be excited for the opportunity. Probably when he went to the NFL and got to work with Brett Favre a little bit. Like, I can't believe I'm here. That enthusiasm. That's what Todd Lebo and Kevin Keesman and those guys were doing at that time. They didn't know how this was going to go. They didn't have complete confidence. Like, we got this. Like, you two guys sit here now, and you know what you're doing. You know the routine.
Do we?
You don't take it for granted. Yeah, you do. But, you know you're a pro. You got this. But back then, to see a young Todd Lebo with just saying, boy, this is fun. I can't believe it. I love sports. I love media. And we're having so much fun. And we're doing something so great. That's what's crazy is when we walked out. Every time you walked out, and I only came in once in a while, right? Did college football game day or did segment on Friday or something like that. I just came in and out. I wasn't there all the time like you guys would have been. But you could just tell this is something great. Kansas City is going to love. I can't wait till we can play the station a little bit later into the evening, right? But other than that, every time we got off the air, you just go, that's magic. Right. Compared to what Kansas City had no competition. Zero. It was a regular station who did all kinds of things, went over to sports kind of for 2 hours, and didn't give their talent any chance to have any great interviews, no length of time. It's just quick hit, go to break. Quick hit, go to traffic. Quick hit, go to weather. That's all they had. It was so easy to pound that competition and just doing something for sports fans. And then, like Steven says, to be involved in it. I mean, what am I doing here? What am I doing here today in talk radio? I mean, what the heck?
What's Jake doing here?
Right. I don't know. Collecting a paycheck, I guess.
So that excitement level.
It's payday.
It's easier for me to keep the excitement level because I don't come here every day. This isn't my workplace. This is an exciting place for me to come. But there's no doubt when we moved over to this location, you're just looking up almost like there's a big palace built. You walk in, you're like, wow. I know the station's good, and the core is the people and the talent and the way Chad had set things up for us to do things. I get that. But then, with all the facilities being as nice as they are, and now I hear the restrooms are a lot better.
Yeah,
but
a lot better.
But to your point, it's about the people, because when I came in here as an intern, it was Steven and Jason Whitlock, and then you see Bill Moss and Tim Grunhard and Frank Bull, guys I watched playing for the Chiefs, and Frank on the news every night, and it's like it was the people. This is the environment.
And they're all excited. Didn't you find that they were all excited? Think about Frank.
It was crazy.
He was killing it when everybody had, there was like 3 channels everybody watched.
Right.
And the nightly news was the biggest deal.
Oh, yeah.
Like when you came to weather or sports or whatever, these guys were icons. They're the ones who spoke to you about the interviews. You didn't have sports radio and things like that. And then you meet Frank around here, and he's getting ready on the mic, Sports Radio 810, and you see his excitement level. He didn't go like, oh, yeah, whatever, I'm not on TV, and I don't have to be suited up as much, don't have to put my makeup on. No. I see Frank, and gosh, he's so excited. So it's a big deal.
Frank on Sunday nights, you watch him, and then he goes right into the George Michael Sports Machine. That was like a mainstay of my childhood. It's like Frank on Sunday, right into George Michael pushing the buttons.
Oh yeah, Frank was awesome.
Yeah,
but see, when he's here, his enthusiasm level's incredible. It's just confirmation that even if you go to the big environments of a city like Kansas City, and then you come over here with this group. You're like, everyone's excited about being here, the opportunity to bring sports to the fans, to talk about it in this setting with these people and this format. Look how long we've gone. We would have had already, in the old days, we would have done 2 breaks already at least.
Well, Jake has tried to get us to break twice already, and I've said no. So
I can't see him. I'm looking the other direction toward you.
Right. I pretend I can't see him, and so it works well. Yeah. We will we'll take a break. We've got a lot of good sound, good content from the Chiefs yesterday as they met with the media and assistant coaches met with the media. There's been a lot of talk about some comments made by Dave Tobe and perhaps a different strategy he's going to be using on kickoffs. And so let's talk about that after this on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Man, Jake, you really messed up this clock. You should have had us a break a little bit earlier. What do we have in this segment? Tell me.
8 minutes. You can go all the way to the top.
That's a good one. Okay.
All the way to the top.
So
Man,
let's
this
get
is
into
traditional. This is pre-Sports Radio 810.
And if you
Sports
go,
Radio in Kansas City.
I mean, you really 10 minutes. You go a minute or two over the top.
You know, it's just a suggestion. Here.
Can you do some traffic and weather on the 9?
I could.
Traffic is pretty good right now.
No, the sports guy's got to quit talking, Steven. You can't do it. You got to go to Jake and act like he's in a different studio watching the traffic.
We'll have weather at 8.
Jeff
Penner will give us the weather.
Go take a drive on 435 and call back in and tell us how it looks.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
69's a little busy.
Wow, thank you. Dave Tobe spoke yesterday along with many other assistant coaches, and so this is interesting to me. So here's Dave Tobe as he talks about the new kickoff rule and says that it has taken up a lot of time this offseason for the coaching staff.
We're thinking about it a lot. I mean, we practice what we're doing now. We're thinking every day we're working either on kickoff or we're working on kickoff return. Today we worked on kickoff. So what we're trying to do there is, without giving everything away, but we're trying to get the ball on the ground, away from the returners as quick as possible, because that's when the kickoff team and the kickoff return team can go as soon as the ball hits the ground in the target zone. Not when it's touched. So unlike the XFL, they waited till the ball was touched before they went. So that's the difference. That's a major difference between our rule and the XFL rule.
All right. So what do you think of that?
XFL rule's way better. It's the one I love. The kickoff rule. First of all, okay, so don't bury the headline. I love the kickoff rule. The NFL's made a giant leap and really cleaned up some things from the other leagues, the spring leagues, like the XFL or UFL. They've cleaned some of those things up and made it better. So I love the rule. But they have one quirk, one problem, and he's speaking of that problem. The ball's got to be kicked between the 20-yard line and the goal line in what the NFL Rules Committee hopes. That's what they hope, Stephen. So hang time does not matter anymore. You say, well, how can Harrison Butker not be the kicker if they go a different direction? Well, he can kick the ball 3 seconds higher here in 5 years. Kickers keep getting better, right? It doesn't matter how long the ball hangs up there. Everybody stands still except for the two returners back in that zone between the goal line and the 20 until they catch the ball. When they catch the ball, that's like the starting gun going off in track. When they catch the ball, you go. So hang time does not matter. But the NFL, for some reason, has said, no, we're going to go when the ball hits the ground. So now they're going to try to teach these kickers, what Dave Tobe is talking about, is if we got a kicker who can kick a line drive, like 4 or 5 yards off the ground, or maybe a little higher to start with, and it can skid at the 18-yard line, 14-yard line, 10-yard line, and go into the end zone, they're not going to be able to get the ball, and they're going to have to take the ball to 20. Okay? So that's really good for the kicking team. Or the ball hits the ground, and it goes wherever it goes and not in the end zone, the returner's wasting time running over there and trying to get it. Okay? So they're trying to make that the game. Can we trick the two returners? There can only be two guys back there, Stephen. And we talked about this earlier a couple weeks ago. Guys like Xavier Worthy, can he track the ball? Can they use their speed effectively to go get the ball and catch it? Because if you kick the line drive and you catch it, it's almost as if you kick the ball in the air. But the NFL's turned this into kind of what would you say, a rugby joke or something, that people are going to try to skid the ball. Because if you kick the ball short of the 20 and it hits at the 21, it's the ball at the 40. If you kick the ball out of the end zone, they can still kick the ball out of the end zone, Stephen. And that's the thing I don't like as well. The kickers can just bang the ball through the uprights and like they did. And what was the penalty before? Ball to 25, right? You gotten used to that. You know what it is now? 30-yard line. Why aren't they just going to kick it through the end zone and put it at the 30? And no one cared about moving from 20 to 25. Why are they going to care about 25 to 30? So the NFL's got to change their rules. They always do a great job of this. They'll tweak the rules. What they need to say next year, it's when you touch the ball and if you kick the ball out of the end zone, it should be at the 40-yard line. If you kick the ball short of the zone, 40-yard line. It should be 40-yard line penalty unless you kick the ball and let the returners catch it and then start playing. We shouldn't take the tradition of football of a kickoff return looking like it always has. When they show a kick, Stephen, and you see the guy catching the ball, you don't see the guys running downfield, do you?
No.
They're moving downfield. You know where they are when the ball is caught, usually near the goal line? About where we're lining them up. So this is great. They get a lineup. They get a wait. It's a little safer. They don't have 40 yards of running before they smash into each other. That's the only reason why we change things, and we want more returns. I'm a little scared that we may not see more returns because they go, heck, let's just kick it through the end zone and have the ball at the 30-yard line. The NFL needs to fix that. And this thing about line driving the ball off the 15-yard line and having it skid into the end zone or something like that, that's not what we need, and that's what he's talking about. They're practicing it because that's what the rules allow.
So listen to Dave Tope here. He tells us that Harrison Butker may not be the guy kicking the ball off in these situations.
I like to have somebody that can go back, is able to make a tackle. I mean, Butker's able to make a tackle, but I really don't want him making tackles all year long, And if you watch the XFL, we watched every play. I bet kickers were involved in probably at least 25 to 40% of the tackles. Either trying to make a guy bounce back or making the tackle itself or just missing the tackle. So, we don't want Butker in that situation, but he will be a kicker. He'll be a guy that we will use in certain situations. He's got a lot of ability to move the ball, whereas those other guys may not be as, apt to doing that. And, we'll use him. He can still kick a touchback if we need it. You're just giving up the ball. If we do kick a touchback out of the back of the end zone, now they're getting out to 30 instead of the 25. So that 5 yards makes a big difference. I mean, that's another 3% chance that, you're giving the offense against you to score. So
did they say that about the move from the 20 to 25? Was that a big deal, Stephen? Did you go, oh, gosh, they moved the ball to 25 on touchbacks? Did that really shake your heart about how football changed?
No.
So Dave Tope's right, 3%. They might score. No, it doesn't matter in the NFL now. Offenses are so good. You can give them the ball at the 30 or the 25 or the 20. That's the problem with the rule. You need to penalize the touchback. You need to penalize the touchback more and put it at the 40 because that matters. If you take the ball over at the 40, it is a completely different football game disadvantage. The thing he mentioned about the kickers, here's what we need to say. If Butker kicks the ball and it hangs up in the air for 4.5 seconds, that used to be time of his guys running down, where a kicker who's not as good, like Reed or something, might only hold it up for 3 seconds. And you go, man, we can't do that. We need hang time. Hang time doesn't matter anymore because everyone stands still until it's caught. So he went to the next statement, which is accuracy. Can they find kickers who can drop the ball down at the 7-yard line at the left hash or near the sideline? And Butker will be the more accurate one, but how high he kicks it doesn't matter. Here's another big thing. You're going to hear people say, I need a real athlete to be the kicker, Jake. I need someone like a soccer goalie who could kick it down there and then run down the field. And while the ball's in the air, run way down the field because you can start running immediately. The NFL smartly said, no. Kicker, you got to stop at the 50. Everyone's lined up at the 40 on your defensive kickoff team. Kicker, you got to stand back behind the 50. You do not get to use the kicker as a tackling weapon by running down the field early. That's a great rule.
He said they're experimenting with Justin Reed and Luis Zamet.
Because you get a tackler on the field.
You like that? I mean, it's in like
no,
in certain situations.
I don't like changing the game. We just need to get kickers have overwhelmed the kickoff. We just need to get back to kicking the ball down the field, return or catch it, and let's go.
Am I wrong to say because the Chiefs' offense is so good and their defense is so good, just kick it out of the end zone and just
you're very fine with that, Stephen.
Let them start at the 30.
I think you're going to see a lot of that.
You know what I mean? No, I'd be like for other teams that don't have a good offense or can't trust their defense and they're trying to manufacture a big play or something, they can get in all that. The Chiefs, I know Dave Tope loves to do all these things.
Dave Tope wants to win that battle too.
Right. But the Chiefs are straight up.
But if you
just beat most teams,
like we joke about playing my board game SFL. This is exactly what SFL is. We're not experts on every play call. You're the kicker. You're coaching the Chiefs right now, and the Chiefs are up by 5, and you're kicking off to the Buffalo Bills. What do you tell Butker to do? Just boot it out of the end zone and give it to 30. Your choice.
Kick it in the crowd. Kick it as far as you can.
Straight.
Right.
If you kick it sideways, it's the 40.
No, you don't.
Yeah, but you don't say, let's try to drop the ball in the zone between the goal line and the 20 and go down and make a play and tackle them at the 18-yard line. Or what can you gain? If you kick the ball and it bounces into the end zone, Steven, and they don't return it, they kneel down, they get to 20. You picked up 10 yards. What would you say? This is the kind of decisions we talk about. This is what my game SFL is about. You would say, give them the ball at the 30.
Right.
Just boot the ball out of the end zone. Take that variable out of the game. Let's go. That's the problem. The NFL needs to adjust the rule to really bring the kickoff back.
Yeah, if it was at the 40, I wouldn't.
They've left a couple quirks in there, and the one is a silliness of Dave Tobe. My son's a special teams coordinator. We're talking about this all the time. We got to learn how to line drive that kickoff so those two guys can't catch it. And if they do catch it, you don't lose anything. Used to be if you hit a line drive, your guys wouldn't get downfield. Now they still get at the 40, so it doesn't matter. So why not try to line drive it, bounce it through the end zone, and hope they don't get it? And if they do get it, who cares? That's wrong. They need to bring the regular kickoff look with a little more safety. That's all we're trying to do is create returns and safety.
We'll be right back after this on WHP.
Patrol is presented by Walker Medical Linen Services, locally owned and